In this video, let's start working on registration functionality. So far we are done with the registration form, and now I just want to click on this register button and the user should be registered. Okay, so before that, I just want to make this email address required, because by default only username, password and confirm password fields are required. And now I want this email address also to be required. Okay, so how to do this? You just have to edit your forms.py a little bit. So now here we are passing the email field in the fields, right? So here we just want to import the forms. Okay, from Django import forms. Okay, here I will say email is equal to forms dot email field. Okay, forms dot email field. So in this email field you can set some attribute such as required is equal to true. Okay, so now this email field should be required. Okay, so let's try refresh it, and you can see email with the star. That means this field is required. Okay, so if you want to change the label of this email, then you can set that attribute as well. Required is equal to true, and then I can say label is equal to email address. A label is equal to email address. Now you can refresh the page. All right, email address, username, password and confirm password. I will just take this username above the email address. For that I can just simply say cut this and put it here. Okay, username, email, password and password 2, which is confirm password. Okay, all right, now I want to click on this register button, and the moment I click on the register button, the data should be stored in the database and the user should be registered, right? So let's actually check our form. First of all, you need to make sure a form has the proper action and it has a proper method, right? So the action will be URL space register. Okay, so when you click on this submit button, the request should be submitted to this register view. All right, and then method should be post. Okay, method should be post, and when we use method post, we have to also pass CSRF token. Okay, so after that I will actually put this form inside a class form group. Okay, I'll create one div with the form group. Okay, so I'll put this inside this form group so that it takes the proper CSS. Okay, so because we have written some CSS in this base.html, right? I want the padding proper, so that's why I just put this inside the form group, and also I will put the submit button inside the form group. Cut this and put it inside. Yeah, all right, now let's see how this looks. All right, no much changes, and next what I want to do, I want to click on this submit, and the request will be submitted to this register function. And let's go to the register function here inside the views.py. So here, if request.method equal to post, then here we have to handle the rest of the things. Okay, so let's start working on it. Here we'll actually say form is equal to registration form. We'll pass the request post inside this registration form, request.post. Okay, so once we have the form with the data, okay, so this form currently contains the data that we have put inside this form, right? So once we have that, let's actually say if form dot is valid. Okay, if form dot is valid, so is valid is actually a inbuilt function, and it will automatically check whether the form that you're submitting is valid or not. Okay, if it is valid, you can save your data, and if it is not valid, you can raise any error. Okay, so let's say if form dot is valid, then we can simply save this form, form dot save. Okay, if form dot is valid, and then form dot save. Okay, so and then once you save the form, then you can say messages dot success request comma registration successful, and you know what, you have to import messages comes from Django.country. Okay, import messages. All right. Okay, so once you set the message, then you should also redirect, right? Return redirect. Okay, so once your registration is successful, then you have to redirect the user to login page, but we don't have the login URL yet, so that's why for now I'm going to just redirect him back to register page only. Okay, so once we create the login URL path, then I will update this redirect function. Okay, so redirect you have to import, that comes from Django.shortcuts. Okay, just make sure you import this redirect. Okay, and in the else case, that means if form is not valid, then we have to throw the error, right? So Django Forms will handle the errors by default. So what you have to do is you have to just render the registration page with the form. Okay, so if the form has errors, it will show the error by default. Okay, so let's simply say return render request comma register.html. Okay, if you look at this is the same thing. Okay, so similarly you should also send the context, right? So context is equal to form colon form. Okay, context equal to form colon form. So I'm just writing the same thing here, right? So next I will simply pass the context to this register.html. Okay, so this way if this form has any error, so it will just the errors will actually go to this register.html, and by default we are rendering the form here, right? So this form will by default show the errors. Let's try to raise some error. Okay, so I'll go ahead and register, and first of all I want to see the error. I'll try to register one user with the username that already exists in my database. So this is my super username. So I'll simply say one simple demo email address, put password 123 okay, click register, and you can see a user with that username already exists. Okay, so then the password also, see this password is too short, it must contain this 8 characters, too common, entirely numeric, right? So all these things will be automatically handled by Django Forms. Okay, so let's try to register one correct user. I'll say Ratan, and I'll say ratan@gmail.com, and I'll put one strong password. Okay, so let's click on this register, and you can see registration successful. Okay, so let's try to see the registered user in the admin panel. Okay, so in the users you can see Ratan is registered and the password is hashed, right? So this way you can allow the user to register himself in your website. And in the next video, let's work on logging in the user. Okay, thank you.